Hey guys, it's Mark from the Sports Corner, and it's that time again. It is week 7 of the NFL, and I'm here to give you my predictions, my best bets. Last week was my most profitable week for week 6. My best bets swept the board 3-0. And the week before that, I went 2-1. So the last 2 weeks, I went 5-1. So if you tailed me, you are making a profit. Now, those are separate bets. They are not parlays. So with that, I like a lot of games here this week. It's a lot of tight games. It's going to be a lot of close and great games. It's going to be fun. But I like some good, realistic best bets here. I'll give them to you guys at the end of the video. If you guys can like and subscribe, this is a small channel, but I love doing this. But let's get straight to it. Let me give you my best bets and my predictions for all the games in week 7 of the NFL. Well, guys, looks like we are going back to London. I mean, we might as well have a team in London by now. We've been going there for several years, and it's the 3rd week in a row being in London. But whatever. We got the New England Patriots versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. So 2 teams with a combined record of 2 wins and 10 losses. I'm sure the people in England are really happy about that. But okay, let's talk about these bum teams here. The New England Patriots, they got Drake May. He looks like he's at a very small spark to this offense. The offense is still not great. They have almost no weapons, but he did add something to it. Jacksonville Jaguars, I don't know, very disappointed in this team. They Travis Lawrence got to be like, why did I sign an extension with this team? And Peterson, he got half his bags packed already, and he's already flying to Cancun. So these teams are going just downhill in the wrong direction. But somebody has to win. So with that, this game's at 9:30 in the morning. Don't forget that. It's really early in the morning. So the Jags are favored by 5.5 points, and the over is 42. Not much to pull from this. This is the battle of the bums. Patriots were blown out by the Texans, and the Jaguars were blown out by the Bears. So, Jesus, but let's get into it. Drake May, he looked decent, not terrible for a rookie quarterback. 243 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and 1 fumble. So at least he got 3 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns, that's like way more than Brissett. I think Brissett got 2 touchdowns or 3 touchdowns for starting 5 games. So, Drake May's already ahead of him in the touchdown department. And he looked like he had a good rapport with Douglas. And Bourne's back, Kendrick Bourne. He probably needs time to adjust to the game back in the NFL because he was hurt. This is his first game. Last week was his first game back. Stevenson may not play this game. Oh no, I think Stevenson was already ruled out for this game. So it looks like it's going to be another start for Gibson. So that's a big hit. They really need Stevenson in the backfield. Patriots have failed to cover the spread 4 out of 5 games. So, God, that's just awful. And the Jaguars have lost 4 of their last 5 games as favorites against opponents with a losing record. So Jaguars are not giving anybody hope there either if you want to bet them. And the Jags have failed to cover the spread in each of their last 4 games as favorites against AFC opponents. So the Jags are just not doing nobody any favors, not even themselves. But, I guess, would you look at this, you think they're 1-5, the whole team must be terrible, but they're not terrible. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is like the only shining light, and the rookie Brian Thomas they got. What a good draft pick they got from LSU. Trevor Lawrence, 1,334 yards passing, 8 touchdowns, and 3 picks. Those are not terrible numbers. There's plenty of quarterbacks in the league this year who are worse. Tank and Travis, the 2 running backs of the Jaguars, have a combining rush yards of 527 yards rushing. So that's really good. Travis is actually having a disappointing year, especially if you draft him in fantasy. He's not doing as good as everybody thought he was going to do. But Tank Bigsby's picking up the slack. Looks like that's a good acquisition by them, a good draft pick by them, I should say. So with that, here another depressing stat for the Patriots. The Patriots have lost each of their last 9 games against teams with that held a losing record as well. So these teams are just terrible and trash, garbage, whatever you want to call. Think of basura. We can say trash in so many different languages. This is how terrible these teams are. But somebody has to win. I think that with Drake May adding some juice to this team, Bourne's second game back, and him having rapport of Douglas, Trevor Lawrence, having Brian Thompson, Christian Kirk, and Travis and Bigsby. So with all that, I think all these guys, I think it's gonna be a mess. I think there's gonna be turnovers. Drake May is definitely probably gonna throw some picks, and the Patriots offensive line is still beat up, so the Jags could probably get to them. All that being said, like I said, crappy teams, but I think there's going to be a bunch of turnovers in this game, especially from the Patriots side. So I think this game goes over 42. I'm not going to bet this game, but if I was going to bet this game, give me the over 42 points and Jaguars to cover the 5.5. I'm not really confident that the Jaguars can cover that, but I'm more confident that this over will hit. So give me the over in this pretty crappy game that's going to happen in London. And anybody from London, you're watching this, sorry about that. And here we have the battle of the NFC North, the Lions versus the Vikings, with Minnesota being favored by 1.5 and the over-under being 50.5. Like I said, this is going to be the battle of the NFC North. The Vikings are coming off a bye, and they're 5-0, and the Lions are 4-1, and they're 2-0 away. And obviously, since the Vikings are undefeated, they're 3-0 at home. This is going to be a great game, awesome game. The Lions are rolling. They're just pitting up points on people left and right. And the Vikings, before their bye, weren't looking too shabby themselves. They had some good wins against the 49ers and the Texans. Talking about the Lions again, the last 2 games the Lions had, they scored 89 points combined. That's almost 45 points a game. So that's killer right there. They've been good opponents. So it's not like they're playing any crappy teams here. They're just scoring up the numbers here. No, they put the Seahawks in their place pretty well. So, they're no slouch. Bad news though for the Lions. They lost their best, one of the best defensive ends in the league. He's out for the year. Terrible injury for them, and it's just terrible, I think, for the whole NFL, because it's really great watching that guy play. I think the Detroit Lions should probably make a trade for a pass rusher, because losing him is a big loss. But let's talk about the Minnesota Vikings now. Minnesota Vikings are coming off a bye, but before that, they did beat the Jets, but it's the Jets. But before the Jets, they came off 3 straight really good wins against the 49ers, the Texans, and the Packers. 3 solid wins that they did 3 in a row. They've been falling down a little back to earth. They had some. The offense was firing all cylinders, but it was going down a little bit before the bye. Sam Darnold's killing it. Just to remind you on his statistics, he's having his best year of his career. So far, he's thrown 1,111 yards with 11 touchdowns and 4 picks. That's not too terrible. The only thing is he was been sacked 14 times. So not bad, not great, They're averaging 27.8 points a game, so they're pretty close to the number of the Detroit Lions, who are averaging 30 points a game. And they just got a bunch of weapons just like the Lions. Now the Lions have I think possibly the best weapons on all the NFL, and they do have the best offense. They have the best 1-2 punch and running backs. They have Williamson, they have St. Brown, Laporta, a tight end, and now they got Tim Patrick, the guy they picked up from the Packers. He was on the practice squad, but he was a starter for the Denver for the longest time, so that's another good pickup for them. And they did get their starting center back for the game, and he's a great center. But like I said, the Vikings offense is not too shabby. Like, they have Aaron Jones, who's a little beat up. I think he's questionable for the game. Ty Chandler is a backup, and they just traded for Cam Akers. Cam Akers, he's not the back like he used to be with the Rams, but having Cam Akers as a second or third running back, That's pretty good. Let them get a couple few yards or goal line touchdown. That's not bad. Good trade for them. But they definitely want Aaron Jones to be back for this game, because Aaron Jones, not only is he just a good rusher, he has 71 carries for 350 yards, but he also catches the ball really well. He has 17 receptions for 167 yards and a touchdown. And the Vikings have the best wide receiver in the league, and Justin Jefferson. I like Justin Jefferson as an anytime touchdown, by the way. They also have Jordan Addison, who was hurt for a little bit, so his numbers don't look great, but since he's been back, he's been doing pretty well for them. So this is going to be a real fought-out game. I can see why the over is 50 in this game, but I know the Vikings are coming off a bye, and they had time to prepare for the Lions, but the Lions are rolling. They are rolling, and the Vikings right now are the favorites to win the game. So with that, you're getting a good number if you take you're getting even money plus 105 right now in DraftKings if you take the Lions money line. So if you want to make some double your money, get a good number, I would take the Lions money line. I think that's for the best number you can get right there. Lions money line, and also take the over. I could see this game being a 27-24 kind of game, and maybe they win by a game-winning field goal, but I can see this game be 27-24 Lions. So give me Lions money line, good number. It's a great number to get at plus 102, and give me the over 50.5. And we have ourselves another great game, the Texans versus the Packers, with the Texans flying to Lambeau and Green Bay being the favorite by 3 points, and the over and under being 47.5. Great game. This is going to be awesome to watch. Let's get into the details of the Packers here. They're 8-2 against the spread in the last 10 games, and they're 6-2 against the spread in their last 8 games. So, really, really great to see. You want to see from the Packers. Their new safety, the guy they picked up, his streak just broke last week. He had 5 straight games with an interception, and he didn't get an interception in week 6. So what a good pickup by them. He is really shoring up that back end there for the Packers. They do sign a new kicker this week, and McManus, an old veteran. He played in the Broncos, I believe, for a lot of his years. He was actually in trouble with the NFL, if I believe so, but I think the NFL said that there wasn't enough evidence for it. So Packers get a solid kicker there. And they needed it. The last 2 guys before that, Carlson and that rookie, were just terrible field goal kickers. But before I keep on going on with the Packers here, we have to talk about one major issue here. If the Packers want to play with the big dogs, if they want to be the Super Bowl favorites like people are crowning them already, they have to sit Jordan Love down and tell him stop turning the ball over. The guy has thrown an interception in every game he has started, and he's thrown 6 picks, and he's thrown 6 picks, and he's been hurt for 2 of the games. So the guy's in the top 5 in turnovers, and he's missed 2 games. So he's turning the ball over at a high rate, and you could get away with that when you're playing low teams that are terrible teams. They've been the Colts, the Titans, and the Rams and the Cardinals. So you could turn the ball over on those crappy teams because you have enough firepower on your team to come back and win. But you can't do that with the Texans. You can't do that with the Lions. These next games they have coming up. You turn the ball over on the Lions, they're going to drop a 30-piece, 40-piece on you, okay? So if I'm the Packers, I'm sitting down Jordan Love and you got to stop throwing the interceptions because it's going to bite them in the butt. They're playing against the Houston Texans. Texans have enough firepower in their team now that they got Mixon back that they could, if Jordan Love decides to throw some picks, they'll turn around and score. So they need to sit down and tell Love to stop turning the ball over because the guy's having to pick a game. It's almost guaranteed to throw an interception. And the Texans have some good defenders. They definitely got better defenders than the Cardinals, the Rams, the Titans, and the Colts. Way better than all of them. But let's get back to the positives of the Packers. They have all-around great weapons. Reed, Watson, Dobbs, Kraft, the tight end. These guys they're loaded with good players everywhere. And the Packers are 10-2 at home against AFC opponents. under Matt LaFleur. So the Packers are 10-2 at home against AFC opponents under Matt LaFleur. That's a great stat. You want to see that when you're betting. And they won their last 4 against the AFC. So they've been kicking the AFC teams' asses like Lamar Jackson kicks the NFC's teams' asses. So that's good. That's a really great betting statistic you want to see. Let's talk about the Texans. They're pretty solid. They're pretty great. They come off a blowout win against the Patriots. They win by 20 points, I believe. And they rank 3rd in total defense, 4th in pass defense. The Packers might have some trouble passing the ball. They're 5-1. They're 2-1 when they're playing away from Houston. Big thing for them was that you could tell that Mixon is back. Mixon, behind Mixon was no really good running backs to help him out. But Mixon comes in there and he just adds a spark. Goes over 100 yards rushing, a touchdown. The guy, you could tell he makes a big difference on that team. And since they don't got Nico Collins, that is great. You can just, you can rely on the running game and then use the play action to throw to Tank Dell or throw to Diggs. So they still have great weapons, even though, Nico Collins is not playing the game. So mixing back is really great. Will Anderson had 3 sacks last game, so the Packers got to watch out for him. He can get to the quarterback. 3 sacks. I know it was against the Patriots, but you want to see one of your better defenders just terrorize an offensive line like that when you're playing against crappy opponents. Another good statistic for the Houston Texans. They're averaging 24 points a game, and they're 5th in passing yards, so they can pass the ball. Like I said, they have a lot of good weapons, and 24 points a game is not too shabby. You'd like to see that a little better. I like to see them around 26, 27 points, but they just need to put it more together. And the underdogs have won 5 of the Packers' last 7 games in Lambeau. So I'll repeat that. The underdogs have won 5 of the Packers' last 7 games in Lambeau. So the games the opponents who are, the underdogs coming in Lambeau, they're covering. So that being said, you got 2 killer offenses. Both teams have weapons everywhere, offense, defense. Both these teams are going to make the playoffs. They could probably make a good run deep in the playoffs. So this is a great matchup, great for the audiences. But I keep on coming to just like I said last week with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson owns the NFC teams. He's like 21-2. Well, I got it here. The Packers are 10-2 at home against AFC opponents when Matt LaFleur is as the head coach, and they've won the last 4 against the AFC teams. I think that speaks volumes right there. I think they cover the Packers win and they cover the 3 points. It won't be easy. Maybe it's a game-winning field goal and then we push, or a game-winning touchdown. But I like the Green Bay Packers to put up enough points to cover this number and this great matchup that we're all getting to see. In this game, I'm not going to spend too much on this game. It's pretty easy for me. I think it'd be pretty easy for everybody because I don't know how you could take the other team. That is the Titans versus the Bills, with Buffalo being favored by a big margin, 9.5 points, and the over and under being 41. How can anybody trust or put any money on the Titans with Will Levis at quarterback? The guy is just crazy maniac Will Levis. The guy throws picks. He's inconsistent. He just throws terrible balls everywhere. He's 83 for 125, 5 touchdowns, 7 picks. Just terrible numbers. 699 yards passing, So I just can't do it. So I'll just get to some more details for you guys. Maybe if anybody wants to bet the Titans, like I said, let's do this right over. And this game, it's gonna be easy to predict, I think, but I don't know. Anybody could pick. And with this game, I think this will be a fast, easy game to predict. We have the Titans versus the Bills, with Buffalo being favored by 9.5, very big number, and the over and under being 41. don't know how anybody could trust the maniac Will Levis, the crazy man himself. The guy turns the ball over too much. 5 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Probably got three or 2 fumbles. The inconsistent of the throws. He's 83 for 125, 83 completions on 125 attempts. And when you watch him throw, and he has decent weapons. I mean, his own team's a disarray. Calvin Ridley's mad because he's not getting the ball. So, the team's a mess. Will Levis is a maniac. It's just hard to back him up. He had 95 yards passing last week. 95 yards, that's it. When he has Hopkins, hell, you could throw the running back a bunch and you could get past 95 yards. So, you see the hint here? It's just awful. They rank 31st in passing yards. They average 135 yards passing with Hopkins, with Westbrook, with Riley, with Tyler Boyd, and they only average 135 yards passing. That's a quarterback problem, not a wide receiver problem. Jamal Adams asked to get released from the Titans. He did. I mean, that's cool that they did that. He's a veteran, and he probably wants to win a ring with the short time he has. And they released him. I don't know how good he was doing, but maybe he was contributing. But, it just shows you that, the morale is low for that team. Who wants to stick around? I bet nobody does. They're probably just getting there, collecting their paychecks and like, okay, time to go back home. When is Cancun? When's the flight? When's the flight going to Cancun? I need to get out of here. So with that, give me the Bills. The Bills, they I know they barely beat the Jets last week, but they go out and get a weapon and Amari Cooper. Great trade. I've been saying since week 1 that the Bills have no offensive weapons. I don't care. Cook is okay. He's good. It's better than average running back in this league, but they have no outside shots. No wide receivers you're really scared of. I thought Curtis Samuels would have brought something extra to this team, but he didn't. Shakir, good guy, could get over the top on you, but he's not so great. He's fast, but nothing to be scared about. They do have Kincaid as a tight end. He's a decent and good tight end. So there's that. But going and get Amari Cooper for a 3rd round pick gives you a number 1 wide receiver, and the other teams have something to fear other than Allen and Cook. So a good trade for the Bills, and Cooper is playing for this game. The writing's on the wall with this matchup. The Bills going to make out a big trade in Cooper. Cooper's going to play. Bills, when playing home, they put up big numbers, and the Titans are just a disarray. Will Levis is a mess. The morale's low. Wide receivers are upset. So give me the better quarterback, the better weapons with the Bills. So give me the Bills covering the 9.5, and if I had to bet the over and under, which I'm not, I'll take over 41 points. But give me the Bills. I don't like the big number, but I cannot put no money on the crappy, crazy Will Levis. Well, there's nothing excited about this game. We have the Bengals versus the Browns, with Cincinnati being a 5.5 point favorite and the over-under being 41.5. The Cincinnati, they won against the Giants, a game that I think a lot of people had them win, and they covered the number. But, it wasn't that great of a win. It was 17-7, and the Giants outscored them in yards, so they put up more yards than the Bengals. Sloppy win, and you don't want to see that if you're a Bengals better. But if there's something you could hang your hat on if you're a Bengals fan, I know they're 2-4. They do have a 2-1 record when they're playing away, so that's good to see. But most importantly, the 4 losses they do have, those 4 losses only combined to 12 points. So that tells me, and should tell you guys, that they're in a lot of games. I think the biggest game they lost was a 6-point margin to the Patriots, which surprisingly, the Ravens beat them by a field goal, the Commanders beat them by 5 points, and the Chiefs beat them by 1 point. So, that's really impressive. They're in these games, so they're not giving up. So that's good to see if you're a Cincinnati bettor or fan in general. The Bengals have covered the spread in 8 of their last 9 Sunday games against teams that hold a losing record. So they are covering the number, which is really good to see. And the Browns have failed to cover the spread in 4 of their last 5 games as home underdogs. The Browns being the Browns, the awful being awful. What else is new? Watson is holding this team hostage. They probably should bench him, but because they invested so much into him with that massive trade that looks like one of the worst trades in NFL history, so they feel like they probably have to play him to save face. But he's holding him hostage. They're 32nd in the NFL in third down completion, so they're not getting they're not completing no third downs. Just awful. And, their only bright spot is Myles Garrett and Nick Chubb. And Nick Chubb hasn't even played a game yet, so do you even know what Nick Chubb you're getting? Myles Garrett has to play Superman. He has to be out there blocking punts, blocking field goals. Hell, he's probably blocking punts too. And he's out there sacking the quarterback. Put him at tight end, Cleveland. Maybe he'll grab you a couple touchdowns. You guys need anything you can get. So there's nothing really positive to bring anymore from the Browns. They gave up by giving Cooper, like I said. Watson is terrible, very inconsistent, and their defense is beat up, and they can't convert third downs. So with that, I think this is an easy pick. Give me Cincinnati by covering the 5.5. And you know what? I might even take Cincinnati covering 7.5. But right now, you think the best play is give me Cincinnati. Win this game 5.5. I see this being a 24-13 game or 24-14 game, but easy win for the Cincinnati. They get back on track, I believe, and end up being 3-4, and the Browns being 1-6. And just get ready for that first round pick and pick a quarterback. Get rid of this cancer that is Deshaun Watson. My God. And now we have the battle of the NFC East, the Eagles versus the Giants, with Philadelphia being a 3.5-point favorite and the over and under being 42.5. No, with this game, the Giants and Eagles games always tough games. It's hard to predict, even though I'm a diehard Eagles fan and I despise the Giants and I despise everybody in the NFC East. But besides that, the Eagles, they win. But they won a crappy dud of a game against the Browns. It's not even worth mentioning. They didn't cover the number. They were favored by 9.5 points, and they didn't even go get closer to the over. In that game with the Browns, they lose their left tackle, one of the best left tackles in the game, top 10 for sure, arguably top 5. He's rated number 1 PFF last year. They lose him. He's going to be gone for a few weeks. Not good. They got Fred Jackson, but they also have Becton, who we played left tackle last year. Who knows what they're going to do there at left tackle, but still a big loss at left tackle for the Eagles. Darius Slay is questionable. Not really too worried about that. Darius Slay has just been playing average. So actually, I like to have Mitchell, our number 1 pick last year at corner, starting, and then having a Rodgers, the acquisition we got from the Colts, starting the other corner side. So I'm not really worried about Darius Slay getting hurt. And Dallas Goedert, another guy who I'm worried about, is questionable in the game, but it looks like he's probably not going to play because he hasn't practiced all week. So that's also a big loss. Going into week 6, he was one of the probably top 5, top 10 tight end. And he gets hurt right away in week 6. And so it looks like he's not going to play week 7. So that's another big loss. So you're 2 big losses there. 2 starters right away are hurt on the offense. Some other depressing stats for you as an Eagles fan. Eagles are 2-10 against the spread in their last 12 games. Really great. They're 2-9 against the spread in their last 11 games against NFC teams. Cool. Really, really cool. So they're not getting it done. They come out the gate not scoring all the time. This has to change. It didn't look like a change during the bye week, but you need to win these games. This NFC East is up for grabs. I believe the Commanders are a bit of fool's gold because they haven't really played hard opponents, and when they did, they lost. They lost to Tampa and they lost to the Ravens, good opponents. So I think the NFC East is up. The NFC East is up for grabs. So I think the Eagles, this is a big win. They need this win. The under is 5-2 in the Eagles' last 7 games. As I said, they come out the gate slow. They're the only team in the NFL who hasn't scored once in the first quarter. that is pathetic, especially with this team. So they need to get out the gate. And Jalen Hurts did good last year. He did not have a turnover. His first game of the season, he did not have a turnover. He needs to keep that trend going. He was a turnover machine this season and going back to last season, just turning the ball over, okay? So he needs to stop doing that. He needs to continue doing that, and we need to rely on the run. And I'm pretty sure Barkley wants revenge on the Giants for embarrassing him and not signing him, okay? I'm sure he wants that. So, I mean, you might want to throw a little bit money on the Barkley anytime touchdown, because I think this guy wants to have a big game against his old team and show the Giants fans what they missed and what they should have, and that they should have signed him. Another depressing stat for you: the Eagles haven't scored 21 points or more since week 1. Like I said, slow starters. One of the most talented teams in the NFL, but they can't score a lick. I gave you all the guys who are hurt. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are back. Hopefully A.J. Brown just gives him more juice. Back-to-back 100 receiving yards games. Really great to see. Looks like he's healthy from that hamstring injury. And Mr. Sure Hands, Devontae Smith, guy looks good, and he's back from his concussion. But just want to throw out there that the Eagles lost their left tackle, but the Giants lost their left tackle as well. And Andrew Thompson's a top 5 left tackle in this league. So 2 top left tackles in the NFL are both out for this game. But the only thing that sucks for the Giants is that Thomas is out for the year, and the Eagles left tackle is out for a few games. So kind of sucks for that the Giants fans there. Little stuff on the Giants here. Giants are probably getting Mike Neighbors back. That's really great. I think him and Tracy, the running back who's been playing for Singletary, that's some good coaching. You could put those guys out in space. Tracy was a wide receiver before, and then he converted to running back. So, and then you have Slayton, the other wide receiver, and Robinson. So the Giants have some solid weapons. Tracy, this new running back coming out of nowhere, is real nice. And Singletary's questionable. He was playing a good game before he got hurt. So the Giants are not without weapons. They have some solid weapons. It's just, what Danny Jones are you going to get? He's actually having a decent year with 1,343 yards passing and 6 touchdowns and 4 picks. So that's pretty decent, But you still don't know what you're getting. You still have that little shakiness of what Daniel Jones is going to show up. But the best thing about this Giants team is their defensive line. They have a great defensive line with Burns and Lawrence leading the way. And Lawrence is having the guy's just killing teams right now. I think he has like 6-7 sacks in week 7. He's averaging a sack a game. He's just eating people up. So he got a sack against the Bengals. So great defensive line. Really, really good. And a little stat, just talking about the defensive line, the Giants lead the NFL in sack percentage. So they're getting after the quarterback. And it's not really good news for the Eagles because the Eagles lost their left tackle, one of the best in the game. So not good. So a good stat for you if you want to bet the Giants. They're 10.5 against the spread in their last 15 games versus the Eagles. That is a lot to bite there. So with all that being said, my prediction for this game is I'm going to do a little adjustment here. I'm going to do a little 2-game parlay. Actually, I'm going to make this a 3-game parlay. Give me, you know what? Let's make this a 4-game parlay, okay? But you could bet these individual if you like, which I will probably do as well. Give me the Eagles money line. Give me an alternative line. Give me the under 48.5 for this game. So I would probably combine the Eagles money line and under 48.5. So adjust that in your alternative bets. But I also want to throw in A.J. Brown anytime TD and over his receiving yards, because the Giants have a good front seven, but they have a crappy secondary, and I think A.J. Brown could expose them. and give me Barkley for anytime TD as well. So let's go to that one more time. Give me the Eagles money line. The under 48.5. Adjust that alternative line on your whatever app you use to bet, and give me Barkley and AJ Brown for anytime TD, and AJ Brown to go over his receiving yards. And we have another great matchup. Like I said, this week has a lot of good matchups. We have the Seahawks versus the Falcons in Atlanta, with Atlanta being a favorite by 3 points and the over-under 51. Now, both these teams I had on my Fool's Gold list that I thought that both these teams look good, but if you go deeper, they are fake. They're not that great. And that definitely, that's definitely the case for the Seahawks. And I think so for Atlanta Falcons too. I'm not going to let them get away. I don't think the NFC South is, the whole NFC South has problems. But the Seahawks, they are definitely fool's gold. They starting hot at 3-0, and they just fall straight to the ground at 3 straight losses. Because the opponents they played were mediocre. They were average. I mean, they were worse than average. They're just terrible teams. And the Seahawks were beating them. They beat the Broncos. They beat the Patriots. They had to go into overtime against the Patriots, and they beat the Dolphins when Dolphins didn't have Tua, and they beat the Patriots by only 3 points and the Broncos by 6 points. That was Bo Nix's first game. So I knew the Seahawks were fool's gold right away. Everybody thought this defense, these ball hogs, they haven't played nobody. You played 3 teams who can't pass the ball. So then they play good teams. Detroit Lions put 40 on them, blow them out. They lose to the Giants 29-20, which they were favorites in, and they lose to the 49ers by 12 points, a rival in their division. So as soon as they play against good competition, the Seattle Seahawks go down the drain. So let's get to it. They're 1-4-1 against the spread so far this year. Not good. And the over-under is 5 to the over and 1 to the under for them. The Seahawks, they have a good chance to win this game because of one reason and one reason only. The biggest Achilles heel for the Falcons. They can't rush the quarterback. They can't sack the quarterback. So if they give Geno enough time, he can light you up with those weapons. Metcalf, Lockett, and Smith, and Fant at tight end. But they also have good running backs in Walker and Charbonnet. So if the Falcons do not get after him, Geno could light you up. Geno pin up some good numbers, and he has good weapons. So keep in mind. I mean, if I'm the Falcons, I'm trading somebody too. You have a chance to win NFC South, and you have a chance to possibly make a run the playoffs. Possibly, I would go get an edge rusher to get to the quarterback because they cannot. They averaged 270. The Seahawks averaged 276 yards passing, pretty great. But that it's great because Tampa hit 30 points on Atlanta, so you can pass on Atlanta sometimes. They do have actually a decent secondary, but Tampa exposed them a little bit. So I think whoever is playing I think Lockett or Smith, who's playing the slot wide receiver, can have a big day against the Falcons. And the Seattle Seahawks had some extra time to prepare. They had a little mini bye because they had the 49ers game was on a Thursday. So they get a little break to get to before they play Atlanta. Let's get to Atlanta here. They're 3-3 against the spread, and they're 3-3 to the over and under. They have a great 1-2 punch, and their running backs as well in Robinson and Algier. So they have one of the best 1-2 punches, and that's really great because the Seahawks are ranked 27th in rush defense. So if they get the ball rolling, and you have Robinson had a great game last week, 2 touchdowns rushing, and Algier had over 100 yards rushing and a touchdown. They could use those 2 guys again, and against the Seahawks' terrible rush defense, won't be looking too good for the Seahawks. This is going to be a good matchup. I can see these teams going back and forth. It's the Atlanta Falcons are just getting the number because they are the home favorite. Half of me wants to take the Seahawks plus the 3 points, but I just can't get away. The Seattle just dropping like a stone when they're playing against good teams. They're 0-3 playing against good teams, and they haven't covered a spread when they've played an away game. And they're terrible covering the run. And the Falcons that's all they want to do. And they have great interior linemen, the Falcons. So I think that the running backs, have a good day against the Seattle Seahawks. And Atlanta does enough to cover this number. I guess this being a 27-21 game. So give me Atlanta and eating the points, 3 points. But I think they do enough to cover that easily. Well, boys and girls, we have ourselves a snooze-fest, boring-ass game here. We have the Dolphins versus the Colts, with Indiana being the favorite by 3 points and the over and under being 43.5. You know, the Dolphins are just awful without Tua, just plain awful. I know they're coming off a bye, and Huntley probably got the playbook a little better, but just awful without Tua. They barely beat New England 15-10, and New England had Brissett at quarterback. If Drake May is the quarterback during that game, Patriots beat the Dolphins easily, I believe. They're 1-4 against the spread. They're 1-4 in the over/under, so a lot of unders are hitting for the Dolphins, and they're averaging only 12 points without Tua. 12 points. I said this the last 2 or 3 weeks. Stupid organization. They know that Tua is prone to concussions, and they don't get a good backup quarterback. They had Skylar Thompson, some other guy named Boyle or Doyle, and then they went to go get Huntley. Dumb. Do you see why the Colts are 3-3? Because they had Flacco as a backup. You need a good backup for these injured-prone quarterbacks. But, you know, Miami, they don't listen. They're like, we don't care, blah, blah, blah. Now look at you. You're averaging 12 points. 12 points when Tua's gone. That sucks. So, you know, by the way, I know the Dolphins are coming off a bye, but the Dolphins are 3-5 off of bye when Mike McDaniels has been the head coach. That's not good. That sucks big time. Mike McDaniel, sorry. Let's talk about the Colts a little bit here. They should be starting Flacco, but they're not. Anthony Richardson is probably going to start again. Last week they said Anthony Richardson was going to start the game, and then all of a sudden Sunday morning Flacco is the quarterback. So keep an eye on that if you're going to bet this game. But Flacco gives them the best chance to win. Anthony Richardson gets behind the center. You have no idea what's going to happen. Is he going to throw an interception? Is he going to run the ball? Is he going to fumble the ball? What's going to happen? You never know when Anthony Richardson is the quarterback. And the guy is not the most accurate quarterback either. The guy, you know, here throws a ball. Oh, it goes sailing by 20 yards. See you later, you know. So Joe Flacco should be starting. I know the guy's 39, but he's put up some good numbers, and he gives them the best chance to win this game. Jonathan Taylor looks like he's probably going to miss this game too. He is questionable, but I read everywhere that his ankle is killing him, and he's not going to have this game. So it's going to be Trevor Sermon and Goodson or Dotson, and those guys are terrible running backs. They are starting a rookie right guard to the Colts who went undrafted, so that's not good. And they lost their Pro Bowl center for this game. So the Colts are starting a backup center, but the original starter was a Pro Bowler. And then at right guard, they're starting a rookie, an undrafted rookie. That is not a good recipe here for the Dolphins to actually get to the quarterback a bit, you know? So that is not good. With all that being said, you know, I don't know. I just can't bet. This game's awful. I'm not going to bet it personally. But if I had to bet this game, I would just give me Dolphins plus the points. Give me any points I can take. If Flacco's the quarterback, I am taking the Colts to win and cover this game. But I'm going to hope that the Dolphins coming off a bye, Huntley getting to know the playbook a little bit more. They use the weapons in Tyreek Hill, Waddle, and A-Chain and Mercer a little bit more, and they beat Indiana. But I'm not touching this game. It's trash versus garbage. It's going to be boring, but that's my pick. I would pick Dolphins plus the 3 points. And this game is going to be a lot of fun. A lot of points scored and a lot of action. We have the Panthers versus the Commanders, with the Commanders being a favorite by 8.5 and the over-under being 51.5. I say this is going to be a lot of points scored because both these teams, their defense, they're just garbage. They're not great. Panthers having historically one of the worst defenses in the league. I know they got a bunch of injuries, but my God, it's just terrible. The Commanders' defense is not nothing to brag about either. The secondary is not great. They lost their defensive lineman for the year, Allen, who was probably one of their best defenders, if not the best defender. He tore his pec, so he's done for the year. Deontay Johnson for the Panthers is questionable. They do need him because he goes over the top for the red rifle. He's played with that ankle injury for the last 2 weeks, so he might do it again, but keep an eye on that. Apparently he hasn't practiced all week. And like I said, the Panthers defense is so bad that other teams are scoring almost 34 points against them a game. That's terrible. And to show you how terrible that is the most points averaged in the Super Bowl era through 6 games. So Carolina Panther fans, I mean, the seats should be for free for Panther fans to come watch your games because how terrible your defense is. Chuba Hubbard's being Chuba Hubbard. The guy's awesome. 86 carries for 485 yards and 2 touchdowns. The guy could also catch the ball out as a receiver. And he's third in rushing. So the guy's killing it. He's top 5 in rushing yards, top 3. And, honestly, I like him for anytime touchdown in this game. I truly do. I think he gets an anytime touchdown in this game. Was one of my best bets, particularly for this game. And coming to the Commanders, this is why I believe the over is going to hit. The Commanders, their defense is allowing opponents' quarterbacks to complete 70% of their passes. That's just, here, you catch the ball, you catch the ball, you catch the ball. My God, And like I said, they lost Allen. They're their best defensive lineman for the year. They're great running back, Brian Robinson. He's questionable for the game. He didn't play last week. They definitely need him because he's a great running back. You know what? And if they want to cover this number, if the Commanders want to cover this 8.5, they need Jaden Daniels to put the team on his back because it's a very large number. He's killing it, by the way. He's passed for 1,404 yards and 6 touchdowns, and he's run for 322 yards and 4 touchdowns. But it's a very large number, and he has no defense. And the Panthers have no defense either. So I think you guys see the writing on the wall here. I like the over 51.5 in this game. I think it's going to be a 31-28, or I think it's going to be 31-24 kind of game. And if I had to bet this game, I like the Panthers plus 8.5. I truly do. I know the Ravens put up 7, and the Ravens are 10 times better than the Panthers, but I think they do enough in the running game, the Panthers, and they do enough to keep the clock going, keep it close enough, and they score with Hubbard, and they might score with the rookie they drafted. He might play in Brooks. So I think the Panthers get the running game going. They keep it close enough for them to cover the game, 8.5 points. But my biggest play for this game is the over 51.5. Well, this game is pretty uninteresting. We have the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Rams, with the Rams being favored by 7 points and the over and under being 43.5. This will be another quick prediction. The Raiders, like the Browns, they give up. They say, we're done. We don't want to, try anymore. We know we're terrible. They trade Devontae Adams to the Jets for, I believe, a 3rd rounder as well. He was their best weapon, regardless. Him and Bowers are the best weapons on that team, and then Jacoby Myers is 3. But Jacoby Myers, by the way, is probably not playing this game either. I don't think he's practiced at all. But they trade Adams. Adams wanted out. Devontae Adams was hurt, and then when he gets traded to the Jets, he's miraculously better now. Yeah, okay. The only weapon they have now is Bowers, the rookie tight end who looks like legit. This guy looks like he's going to be the next Gronkowski or the next, just the next great tight end. White, the running back, is questionable. Myers, the other wide receiver that was besides on the other counterpart of Adams, he looks like he's not going to play the game. The running game for the Raiders, I believe, is the second worst in the league. It damn near is probably number one. White and Madison are just two awful running backs. So, what more can you ask from the Rams when they have almost nothing? They have two bright spots. One on the offense and Bowers, that he's going to be the next great tight end. He should probably get the hell out of there when his contract's up. And Max Crosby, the guy loves the team. Good for you. You're going to be the only guy on that team for a couple of years now. And so they have nobody on this team for the Raiders. So I think you know where I'm getting to. Let's talk about the LA Rams here just a bit. They've won 3 games against the Raiders. Kupp is questionable for the game. I don't know. Maybe this guy should maybe this guy should sit it out because not to re-aggravate his injury. And this offense will go as far as Kyren Williams takes him. Kyren Williams, the running back, the guy is a beast. They had a bye, so his numbers are 95 carries for 360 yards and 6 touchdowns, and I believe he catches the ball pretty well too. So the Rams are going to go as far as Kyren Williams takes them, okay? But he's a really damn good running back, so he could probably take them far. And they have Tutu Atwell, who is a solid wide receiver. He has 17 receptions for 281 yards. That's pretty good for a smaller wide receiver, I believe. He wouldn't be starting if Kupp and Puka Nacua was playing, but he's not. So with that being said, give me the team with a better quarterback. Give me the team with a better running back. And the Raiders are a mess. They trade Adams. Myers is hurt. So, I just can't put my money on the Raiders. So give me the Rams over covering the 7 points and the over 43.5 if I was going to bet it. But I think the strongest play here is the Rams covering the 7 points and embarrassing and demolishing the Raiders. But, the Raiders are used to that. And in this game, we have the rematch of the Super Bowl. The Chiefs versus the 49ers, with the 49ers being a 1.5 favorite and the over and under being 47. I don't think people realize how beat up the 49ers are, especially on defense and offense. Obviously, they don't have CMC. Also, the other running back, Mason, is questionable for the game. But their defense is really beat up. Hargrave, the guy is out. Great defensive lineman. Robinson, Greenland, Hafenga, if I'm saying that wrong, I'm sorry, he's out. And Mentos, he's hurt too. So all these guys are probably going to be out for this game. So people don't realize that they're winning games, but they're winning it with like the backup defenders. They still got, one of the best middle linebackers in the game. So they don't really have to worry about that. Shanahan, one thing that the Niners fans and Niners bettors have to watch out is that, Shanahan has a little bit of a hard time closing out games. And if you give Mahomes any light you give Mahomes, he's going to take it and he's going to beat you. So if the 49ers get a lead, you better hope Shanahan keeps onto that lead, or Mahomes is going to just throw that football up his behind and win the game. But Mahomes hasn't looked like vintage Mahomes or the Mahomes we know. He has 6 touchdowns for 6 interceptions. That's not truly good, I think so far he's having the worst year since his rookie year. So it's not looking too good right now for Patrick, but I think Mahomes is probably going to turn that around. The Chiefs are 4-1 against the spread. The Patrick Mahomes has won 6 straight games as an underdog. That's a good betting statistic there. And the Chiefs coming off a bye, Andy Reid, their head coach, is 21-4. That's pretty good. That's going back even for the Philadelphia Eagles days. But being 21-4 after a bye, pretty damn good for a head coach. They've committed the lowest penalties in the NFL. They've only been penalized 27 times. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that because they like to think that they need to the Chiefs and the refs are, in cahoots. And the Chiefs are 13-3-1 against the spread as an underdog since Mahomes took over. So since Mahomes took over at quarterback, they're 13 wins. They're 13-3-1 against the spread as underdogs. That's pretty. That's another very nice stat. And you know what? Good, nice, solid pickups for them. Guys who are off the street. They pick up Juju. Juju had over 100 yards receiving in the first game he started, and Hunt had over 100 yards rushing, and they picked him off the street as well. So they just picked up two solid pieces to help this team out. So with all that being said, oh, and by the way, Shanahan, the head coach of the 49ers, has never beat the Kansas City's defensive coordinator, Spangolia, I believe I'm saying his name right. So Shanahan's never beat him. So that's another thing to keep an eye on. But, with all that being said, telling you everything about these two teams, I think the best bet for this game is give me the Kansas City money line. I think you're getting it right now, a good number. You're getting plus 102. I would go better right now. With him having a dominant record against NFC teams, Mahomes, with him, Andy Reid having a great record after the bye, Shanahan not beating the defensive coordinator once, and them being 13-3-1 as a underdog since Mahomes took over. I'll take that trend to the end. So give me Mahomes, give me the Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs money line at a good number right now at plus 102. And for our last game for Sunday night, we have the Jets versus the Steelers, with the Jets being a favorite by 1.5 points and the over-under being 39. Well, the Jets and the Steelers, they both made two good and big moves before they met up with each other, with the Jets trading for Davante Adams and the Pittsburgh Steelers starting Russell Wilson over Justin Fields. So two teams making two changes, trying to rattle their offenses to get something going, and they're meeting right head-to-head here. Like I said, Aaron Rodgers gets one of his old toys back. He had Lazard now, he had Hackett, and last year he had Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb was no longer with the team because he sucked. But Rodgers, who's also the GM for the Jets, he gets more toys for him. And, there should be no excuses now that you got your number one guy, Davante Adams, and you have Garrett Wilson. That's a great wide receiving core. And you got Breece Hall, and you got Allen as a backup. So you got weapons all around him. So if you guys hear any complaining from Aaron Rodgers, he's probably on an acid trip or something, because the guy should have no excuses. They look better the Jets look better with a new play caller. They kick Hackett. Hackett no longer is the caller anymore, and they gave it to another guy, and they just looked way better, especially Breece Hall. He had his best game last week. Rodgers looked decent, but he has decent numbers, but he's only completing 61.8% of his passes. That's not good. That is not vintage Rodgers. 61% is not good. The Jets are 2-4 against the spread. And like I said, Breece Hall looked way better with the new offensive play caller Downing calling the plays. But let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers now. Big move, starting Justin Fields. Justin Fields didn't look that bad. I mean, he had some bad incompletions. He missed some guys wide open. But if you look at his numbers, and the numbers don't tell everything, like I said, he had some bad incompletions, but he wasn't like he was playing terrible. He threw for 1,106 yards, 5 touchdowns, only 1 pick, and he ran for 231 yards and 5 touchdowns. And he never lost a fumble. He had fumbles, but never lost one of them. So he had 5 touchdowns. He had 10 touchdowns and only 1 turnover. That's not that bad. But Russell Wilson comes in. I believe he's 36 years old. Maybe he can add a spark. I think Perkins is a really good wide receiver. So I think, that opens the door for him. Now Wilson's a quarterback. Pittsburgh's 4-2 against the spread, and they're 1-0 as home underdogs. And Mike Tomlin, he loves being an underdog. The guy has a really, really profitable coach when he's an underdog. So that's a good statistic for you Pittsburgh Steelers bettors. And the Steelers defense is still pretty good. TJ Watt getting out the quarterback as usual. And their defense only allowing 14.3 points a game. So very stellar, very good. But you know what? With all that being said, two teams who both have good defenses. Both these teams make big moves to shake up their offenses, and I'm going to take that for what it is. I think the Jets rate pass a lot. They like I said, they go over 64% in the red zone passing the ball. I mean, in general, they pass the ball a lot. So I think that's not going to stop with Adams. It might even increase with Adams. And I think the Steelers want to make a point with Russell Wilson being the quarterback. So I think that the best play is the over 38 points. I think this game's going to be 23-20. Boswell or the other kicker for the Jets make a game-winning field goal, and it gets that 23-20. But I think both these teams want to use their new shiny weapons, and they want to put up some points to make a point. So give me the over 38 points in this game. And if I had to bet the game, give me the Jets and swallowing the 1.5. All right, guys. Well, here are now my best bets for week 7. Low recap. Week 6, I went 3-0. In week 5, I went 2-1. So the last 2 weeks, I went 5-1. So if you tell me the last 2 weeks, you are making a profit. So this week, I like 4 games. Usually I give three best bets. But I'm going to give out 3 best bets and 1 honorable mention if you want to do it. And for my first best bet, it's a bit ugly. It's 2 terrible teams playing against each other, but I think they go put up some points. It's the Jaguars versus the Pats, and I believe they go over the number 42. Drake May, he's had a little spark to this team. He threw 3 touchdowns against the Texans. Kendrick Bourne is back. This will be his second game back. I think he'll get he'll get the juices going a bit more. May had a good rapport of Douglas. I know they don't have Stevenson, but they got Gibson. He's not that bad of a backup. And Hunter Henry at tight end. So I think Drake May uses his legs as well, and they put up the same numbers they kind of put up against the Texans, around 20 to 24 points. And the Jaguars, they have the better weapons. They just got to put it all together. They have the better running backs. They have Brian Thompson Jr., the good rookie wide receiver. They have Christian Kirk, another good wide receiver. And they have Ingram. Having Ingram back was a gift for T-Law, Trevor Lawrence. So all that being said, I think this game's like 27-20 with the Jaguars winning. But I think the best play here is the over 42. So give me the over 42 in the Jaguars versus the Patriots. And for my second game, I'm surprised it wasn't 6.5 points, but it's 5.5. I'm taking the Bengals to cover the 5.5 points against the Browns. Bengals eked out a win against the Giants 17-7, but I think they needed that kind of rough grit win to, put a kick in their ass to get things going. So I think they're meeting the Browns at the right time. Browns, they trade Amari Cooper, their best weapon. They do get back Nick Chubb, but I think the Browns are going to be easing him in a bit because he had that terrible leg injury. And Deshaun Watson is a mess. The guy's getting sacked. He's the most sacked quarterback in the league. So, and the guy just can't throw the ball at all. All he has is Jerry Jeudy. I think Moore got hurt. He had a concussion. Their slot wide receiver. So I think the Bengals are up for our big scoring team. They're one of the best scoring offenses in the league. Joe Burrow has putting up MVP numbers. Chase is looking really great. He wants that big fat contract, and they're all healthy on offense. So give me the Bengals covering the 5.5 against the Browns easily. And for my third best bet, give me the Kansas City money line at plus 102. This is going to be a great game. These two teams met at the Super Bowl, that being the 49ers versus the Chiefs. But Mahomes' number as a underdog are 13-3-1 against the spread. So Patrick Mahomes is 13-3-1 against the spread as an underdog since he took over as the quarterback for the Chiefs. That's all I need to hear. That is great numbers. The 49ers are also beat up on defense. I gave you guys a list of them. I know that the Kansas City are beat up on offense with a running back and wide receiver, but they added some nice pieces in Juju and they added Hunt. So they're not as good as Pachenko and Rice, but they're good supplement pieces enough for Mahomes. So I like this number. I think Shanahan, he can't close out games. He's never beat the Kansas City's defensive coordinator in Spags. And Mahomes is a killer when he's an underdog. He's 13-3-1 against the spread as an underdog since he's took over as a starting quarterback for the Chiefs. So give me that any day. So give me the Kansas City money line at 102, a great number to get. And for my honorable mention best bet, I like Detroit money line. You're getting a good number because Minnesota being the favorite. And I just think Detroit comes in and they're winning. They are rolling right now. They scored almost 90 points in the last 2 games combined. And with their whole high-powered offense and with the Vikings having a terrible secondary, I think that's prime for the Detroit to tear them up. I still think it's going to be a close game, but I think Detroit does enough to win this game outright. So get it while you can, while you start getting a good number. So my honorable mention best bet is the Detroit Lions to win straight up. Well, guys, those are my predictions for all the matchups in Week 7. I'm only giving the predictions for the Sunday night games. I will be giving my Monday night predictions Sunday night or Monday morning, so pay attention to that video. Just wanted to make these videos a little shorter so you guys can enjoy them a little better. But I think this is going to be a great week. There's some real awesome, profitable games, way better than the previous earlier weeks when the season started. But I like this week. If you guys tell me what games you like, tell me what any stats I missed. I would love to hear it. I'm always looking to make more money, and I'm hoping my picks make you money if you tail me. So with all that, please like and subscribe. I'm a small channel, but I love doing this. So let's make this a profitable week. Let's make some money. And like I said, my Monday picks are coming Sunday night or Monday morning. But let's make some money, guys. And as always, I will see you in the next one.